We all remember 2025. Caitlin Clark, apparently injured. We kept hearing different things. It's her groin. She's day to day. Well, wait, now it's her thigh. Now it's her other thigh. Then this year, we decided to start the season with a mysterious back injury. She had just won MVP for the U.S. women's national team in qualifying for the World Cup. And then all of a sudden, we start the WNBA season, and she's got this mystery back injury. She ends up missing a game. She took the hit for that one, and talking about, oh well, that was me mentally. The fever handled it. It was a disaster. And of course, they're still playing on that by listing her as probable for every single game. And yet here we are. Here we are back to 2025 with, well, Caitlin's injured. We're not really sure exactly what the injury is or the time frame, and we're not going to give you a whole lot of details. And we're going to make it seem like maybe she's going to be back every single game, and we'll see how long that gets strung out. That is the vibe right now that I get from this mystery Caitlin Clark injury early in the third quarter. She went out early in the third, didn't return, was on the bench for a while though. So there's the thing. She was on the bench. If it was a serious injury, I think she would have been gone right away. And I'm going to let some footage run as we'll talk about this. We're also going to listen to Stephanie White and get into that as well. Because you guess what, folks? With this video that I am about to show you, a lot of people have questions. Is this an injury? Was Caitlin Clark pulled out of the game? Was she benched? We constantly see Stephanie White getting on Caitlin Clark's case. We saw Kelsey Mitchell doing that as well this game, despite the fact that they wouldn't have been in this game if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark, who got off to a red hot, white hot start, ended up with 19 points and 8 assists, and by the way, only played 20 minutes. So we've got this that's going on right now. And I'm just going to let this run for a bit because it's kind of long and there's a little bit of nothing going on. But a lot of people, well, you'll see Caitlin Clark on the bench, right? You'll see the coach move over, talk to Caitlin Clark. I believe it's Brianne January, come back, Stephanie White, they go over there. And eventually, when they get to the huddle to go back on the court, Caitlin Clark wanders to the locker room. So again, it doesn't look and I'm not saying there can't be an injury where she's on the bench. You can see Caitlin Clark on the bench right now. She's on the bench to me looking like she's going into the game, right? Because she's one of the players on the bench, and those are usually the players that are going back into the game. That's what it looks like. The coach went over there. The coach goes back. I loathe this entire coaching staff. The coach goes back, and you'll see eventually when Stephanie White gets over there. But look, there's absolutely can be injuries where the player is on the bench, not necessarily looking like they're going back into the game and then they're done for the night. So, but my point being, with everything that's been done the way it's been done with the Indiana Fever, here comes Stephanie White. Caitlin Clark gets up because now she's not going back into the game. Her back brace is not on that I see. Now she's standing there as if she's just, out of the game and a substitute. And what I'm getting to is, as I try and also follow along with this for you, is that a lot of people have questions. Rightfully so. I'm not going full on, oh my God, this is Caitlin Clark was benched and they're covering up. But the point being, with the way the Fever have handled everything with Caitlin Clark, the questions surrounding this injury don't surprise me. Why would you not have these questions when you've seen the way Stephanie White has handled everything with this team? We know that she doesn't like Caitlin Clark. We know that Stephanie White doesn't like Caitlin Clark. She doesn't want to play Caitlin Clark basketball. And by the way, for those who say, "Oh, you don't know that," that's not true. I mean, that's straight from Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has said it herself about Stephanie White not wanting her to throw certain passes. The passes we all love, right? The ones where the other team might even score, but the Indiana Fever still get a layup because of how good Caitlin Clark is. By the way, did you see? Are you watching? I think I might have even missed it. But Caitlin Clark wandering off. She's gone now, folks. Caitlin Clark wandering off to the locker room. Gone. And that's it. Did not return for the rest of this game. Indiana Fever go on to lose to the Phoenix Mercury. Now I got another one for you. Stephanie White being asked about Caitlin Clark after the game.
Don't have an update on Caitlin, but when it comes to her back, how careful do you all have to be moving forward? And if she has to miss time, how does your team have to adjust?
I think we got to be careful. It's a long season. We got to make sure that she's healthy. As far as adjustments, like it's next player up. Ty's got to be ready to play some more minutes. Obviously Raven has to be ready. We've got to take on a little bit more collectively. I think find ways to get our bigs a little bit more involved. Specifically, we think about Mo and her ability to get some shots off the move. Get her into two-man a little bit more. This is unfortunately not unfamiliar territory for some of the players on our team. But everybody's a pro, and everybody's got to be ready to go.
Don't have an update on Caitlin.
Um, 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 uh, sorry, get carried away. First of all, just the one thing that stuck out real quick toward the end is the Mo Billing stuff. So the things that she excels at with Caitlin Clark, you weren't doing for most of the season, right? If you watch the couple of good games Mo has had recently, you saw a little more of what Mo Billings can add and give to this team when Caitlin Clark is allowed to be Caitlin Clark. But the beginning of that sure sounded a whole lot like 2025. First of all, she sounds to me happy that she doesn't have to deal with Caitlin Clark, but it also sounds very open-ended again in we don't know. We're not going to know when Caitlin Clark is going to be back. Maybe she's going to be back next game. Maybe she's done for the season. Maybe she's not even hurt, man. I mean, that's just where we are with the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark at this point. Is nobody trusts anything coming from this organization when it has to do with Caitlin Clark. That is just simply reality. And people might want to scream and throw hissy fits and insult Caitlin Clark fans and pat themselves on the back for how smart they are. But that's not reality. The reality is this organization has mishandled Caitlin Clark from day one. This organization has repeatedly lied about things with Caitlin Clark from day one. This organization has hired the absolute worst people you could possibly hire when you have Caitlin Clark on the team. This team hired a coach that is the worst possible coach you could have for Caitlin Clark. And look, I say that even if you want to say, hey, there's nothing personal at all. They get along. Great. Even so, philosophically, personality wise, Stephanie White as a basketball coach is a terrible, terrible fit for Caitlin Clark as a basketball player. That is just the reality of how things are. It happens. You see it all the time. Certain coaches and their styles, and whether they're rigid and stubborn or whatever, and certain players, and sometimes it's the players that are stubborn, right? But either way, you have bad fits that you just can't continue with if you want to be successful. The Indiana Fever have that with Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark. We've already seen the botch stuff with the game she missed earlier this year. We saw what happened last year when it was, well, she might be back next game. It's pretty likely. So, make sure you still travel to Indy and go to the game. How long did they do that to us? For as long as they possibly could until they finally had to say, hey, you know what? Caitlin Clark's not coming back, man. Just not going to happen. We'll see. I don't get a lot of good vibes, shall we say, from Stephanie White with this right now that lends me to believe Caitlin Clark's coming back quickly. Or I don't know, maybe she's constipated. Maybe she's upset that Caitlin Clark is coming back quickly. Who knows? Who knows at this point? But it seems very odd to me the way it was handled. It does seem odd the way that she went off. And again, this could be sheer incompetence, right? I'm not even saying Stephanie White benched her. This could be sheer incompetence by the Fever coaching staff, the Fever physical training staff, medical staff, whatever you want to call them, because they have proven to be not very good as well. And If she is that serious with a back injury, I don't know why she's sitting on the bench for that long. Like, why did she have to be part of that entire stoppage? I'm not even sure what that stoppage was. She played in the third quarter, so it wasn't halftime, right? Unless she went back. No, they were going back into the game. So it was definitely the third quarter. I'm losing my mind. Sorry about that. And it just seemed weird to me. If you had Caitlin Clark to that point where you know that she's going back into the locker room, maybe getting treatment and not returning, why was she there at all? Like why was she there for a stoppage and not just sent back, right? She didn't have to be there and hang out. Again, back injury. Why is she standing there? I don't know. Great question. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Quick favor, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see how it goes. I will talk to you later.